Welcome back to Inside Politics. Our guest today, Deborah Maggard, a Republican consultant, and Carol Brown Andrews, a Democratic consultant. We're talking about campaign 2020 in its final days. Ladies, both of you have been in winning campaigns. You've both been in campaigns that lost. You know what they say in baseball and other sports, you win some, you lose some. So why is 2020 so different? Why all this talk of not conceding or accepting the outcome, especially from the president? Deborah, what's that all about?
Well, I've been talking about all this paper balloting and absentee balloting and mail-in ballots since May, about the time the Democrats started filing all these lawsuits. So I started talking about that before the president did, because it concerns me when you change the rules in the middle of a game. I think that because we have seen all these lawsuits that the Democrats have filed across the country about all of these ballots, I don't think he's saying...
The Republicans have filed a lot of lawsuits, too. There's not just Democrats filing lawsuits now. Both parties have been filing lawsuits.
Right, because we've got these... Well, okay, back in June, I know that here in our state, the Democrats filed lawsuits to change our absentee balloting rules and to change the signature verification. But back to the president, I think that he's not saying he's not leaving the White House. He's saying he wants to be sure that this was a fair election and the votes were counted properly, and the votes that should be counted are the ones that were counted.
Carol, Hillary Clinton has said that Joe Biden should not concede almost no matter what. Is that the right kind of advice to give a candidate?
Look, I can't speak to what Secretary Clinton has said. I have not heard that. I don't think that's the right advice. You know, through history, we have always had smooth transitions, except, you know, we had that one blip in 2000, I suppose. But that was just a matter of some mix-ups in Florida with the balloting. Getting back to what the president has said about a smooth transition, you know, he has been planting the seeds since 2016 when he ran. He was planting the seeds that the elections were going to be rigged. He likes to sow that doubt so that, you know, if it's close and any contesting happens, which Secretary Clinton did not do, she knew that he had won the electoral votes and punctured through the blue states, and she graciously stepped aside. And that is what should happen. What I'm hoping for and praying for on Tuesday is that we have such a decisive vote for Vice President Biden and Kamala Harris, is that there will be no question, and that the Republicans will say to President Trump, look, it's time to step aside.
Deborah, are you concerned it may be...
will not be violent. I want everybody to simmer down and come together.
Deborah, you think it's going to be an election week, not an election night, or maybe even an election month? I mean, are we going to likely have what happened in 2000 on steroids? Because that won't just be Florida. It may be Florida again, but it may be several other states that will be going into court and lawyering up, and lots of sore loser arguments coming around.
Well, I know the votes were going to take a little longer to count in Pennsylvania because, you know, the Supreme Court's already weighed in on that, and, you know, about the absentee, like the postmark, when the postmarks, the cutoff for that is, how long they can be counted. And Pennsylvania is a battleground state, so it may come down to Pennsylvania instead of Florida.
Is this election headed to the Supreme Court? The president keeps hinting that way, and of course he's got 3 people that he's appointed to that court that now serve there. He keeps acting like, and a couple of times he's made some statements, it sounds like they kind of owe him to vote in his direction. Isn't that kind of a bad thing, Carol, to do, to put heat on a judge like that? I don't know any of them that like to have heat put on them at all, especially about political things.
Absolutely. And this president has shown us time and time again that in appointments across the board, whether it's judicial or, you know, cabinet, that he is demanding loyalty. He said it to people time and time again. I don't know what he said to justices. I hope he didn't make that explicit to them. He said he didn't do that with the newly appointed and sworn in justice. We shall see whether they feel beholden to him. I don't know. I was a little bit concerned with the ruling that Justice Kavanaugh wrote the other night. It was hastily put together, and you know, and wrong, and he's already had to go back and amend it. So that looks like they may feel a little bit beholden.
A final question to both of you, although they're different questions. First, this is a question of what keeps you up at night more than anything else about this election. Carol, it's reported that millions of absentee ballots have not been returned across the country, many in battleground states. Do you worry that Joe Biden may lose because too many of his supporters just left their ballots on the coffee table?
That does keep me up at night. I hope that's not the case. It is concerning to me that the president thinks it's great. He wants Florida absentee ballots and mail-in votes to be counted, but he doesn't want Pennsylvania and Wisconsin after certain dates. It's obvious to me that he really doesn't want every single vote to be counted, or he would not run that gauntlet. And that is concerning to me. That includes military votes.
Deborah, your question about what keeps you up at night, are you concerned the president continues to insist that votes should be counted only those that are on election day or come in before election day? With so many Trump supporters now saying they're waiting to vote on election day itself, are you concerned it won't be a big enough red wave to overcome what appears to be an apparent lead Biden may have that he's built in early voting and in absentee so far?
I think you need to always remember there's a difference between absentee ballots and mail-in ballots and how that's been handled. I mentioned that earlier, that a lot of the states, some of these Democrat-controlled states, changed the rules in the middle of the game about how they're handled and how they're counted and brought in and postmarked and this and that. And I think that is what concerns me. Here in Tennessee, I think we do it right. We've had this on our books for a long time. Your absentee ballot has to be in by 7 o'clock on election day, and that is it.
Deborah Raggett, thank you so much for joining us, and Carol Brown Andrews. Ladies, thanks for both of you being here, and good luck on election night. Pop lots of popcorn. This could last you for several days. That's Inside Politics for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you'll be back here again for a future show. If you can't get enough politics in the meantime, go to the News Channel 5 website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. There's a new commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here next time. Goodbye.